smaller than a bread box. Only a couple of hours later, a sleepy-eyed grandpa left for the morning, milking. Now that it was 8 o'clock, the cows were bawling constantly. Millie sat up next to Ernest's bed. "He left without me." "Me too," Ernest replied. "He's tired, that's all. I'm going to the barn to help. Those milk pails are heavy. You coming?" "Absolutely not," Millie said. "No pouting," Gabby said from under the kitchen table, where she was hunting for crumbs. "Only babies pout." "But I am a baby," Millie said. Ernest bumped the old door to make it open. He decided not to remind Millie that she was nearly a year old, almost full grown. Out on the porch, Ernest cast a professional eye over the property. Ahead of him stretched the large, grassy square between their house and the brick-red office. On the left side of the square was the low white building of dog kennels, with a matching building for cats on the right. Once Ernest had spied an escaped cat boarder there, crouching on the lower limb of a maple tree. His warning oinks had alerted Grandpa, who came and retrieved the cat. Ever since, Ernest has scouted the property several times a day. Inspection over, Ernest trotted off to his right, down the dirt lane to the barn, some distance behind their house. As usual, he helped Grandpa carry heavy things like pails of milk and water, and he listened when Grandpa talked to him. Grandpa needed listeners because Grandma Bender had died just before Ernest came, and Grandpa was still lonely. With the cow's milk and the chickens fed, Ernest and Grandpa went back to the house. Grandpa talked some more while he made breakfast. "Cows have no flexibility," he told the family. "They think the world is ending if they aren't milked before 7 in the morning and by 6 in the evening." Ernest munched hungrily on his stew of potato, eggs, bread, and fresh milk. He needed to keep up his strength. With several new boarders and the problem in the bread box upstairs, it could be a difficult day. Swallowing the last tasty crust of bread, Ernest moseyed over to his bed, where he could think. What was small enough to fit in a bread box? Across the room, Grandpa enjoyed a second mug of coffee. By the time he set the dishes in the sink, he was whistling. "Off to the kennels," Grandpa said. He stroked Millie's sleek back, but she did not turn around to lick his hand this time. She didn't roll over to have her belly rubbed either. Ernest stood at the window and watched Grandpa walk away. "He left us behind again," Ernest said. "Tail feathers," cried Gabby. "The man's not himself. He gave me 2 pears for breakfast, not 1. "Well, I ate nothing and he didn't even notice," Millie said. "He's only thinking of what's in that box." "You mean the baby?" Gabby said. "Baby? Who said it was a baby?" squalled Millie. "No one, but it probably is," Ernest explained. "That box must be like a heated chicken brooder in the barn for those full chicken babies." "Of course," Gabby agreed. "It could be any kind of baby at all. A mouse, a wild bird. You know, Grandpa." Millie's eyes glittered. "We don't need another baby in the family." "Baby in the family," Gabby repeated. Ernest shot Gabby a warning look. He was in no mood for her "my hen bird repeats." "Not in our family," he told Millie. "Grandpa's a vet, remember? We take care of all animals here all the time." "Not in our bedroom." "True," Ernest said, "but we think this one was in the fire. Maybe it's in pain, and that's why he pushed you away." Millie's tail had become a quivering bottle brush. "But it's our bedroom. Looks like family to me." "Well, I'm going there out there to help Grandpa, just like always. Millie hunkered down stubbornly onto the bed of blankets, but Gabby hopped onto Ernest's head. "Take me to the office," she ordered. "I have work to do." "What do you mean? Are you answering the office phone again?" "When Grandpa's away, I run the office," Gabby said. Stunned, Ernest repeated, "You run the office?" "Why not? I can sound just like Grandpa, and the ringing phone is hard on my nerves." Ernest knew she could make any sound she wanted. Her imitation of a garbage truck backing up was his favorite, but now he said, "Gabby, you know you shouldn't answer the phone." Gabby flapped one wing, dismissing the advice. "Is it fun to talk on the phone?" Millie asked. "Oh, yes. I say, 'Welcome to the Bed and Biscuit,' and people say, 'How's life treating you, Dr. Bender?'" What do you say then?" Ernest asked, alarmed. "Oh, it varies," she replied. "Sometimes I say life's treating me like a bowl of fruit." "How creative," said Millie. Gabby nodded happily. Other times I say life is treating me like a dead pigeon. It all depends on my mood." "Oh, dear, dear," Ernest mumbled. "Gabby," he went on, "do you take calls from people who want to board their pets?" "Of course," she said, ruffling her feathers importantly. Millie quivered with awe. "This is so impressive, Gabby." Ernest kept on. "Do you take reservations for boarding?" "Why should I tell you?" "Because this is Grandpa's business, not some game with a phone." "Oh," squawked Gabby. "Mr. Self-Important Pig again, picking on the poor senior citizen bird." Ernest waited. He said nothing. "Oh, all right," Gabby admitted. "Usually I say we're full. Call back tomorrow, I tell them." Ernest said, "Well, then, that's fine. Sometimes I say toodaloo to you at the end." Of course, Grandpa would never say that. "Anything else?" Ernest asked. Gabby broke into a noisy cackle. "Yesterday, I did make a joke, but only on one call." "Go on," Ernest said, steeling himself. "I think it's very original," she began. "I said, 'Hello, Comfort Inn, but we're all out of comfort,'" she cackled proudly. Millie gave a small, sad meow. "You reminded me," she said. "All out of comfort. That's how I feel." Ernest fumed with anger. "It's a wonder we get any business at all if Gabby talks like this on the phone," he thought. "Gabby," he said firmly, "let the answering machine in the office take those phone calls. That's its job." "Ah, you mean I'm being replaced by a machine?" "Being replaced," echoed Millie with another mournful mew.